Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. I greet you and I welcome you to this evening, afternoon, morning program. Morning, good afternoon. All right. While you are joining, kindly share the video, invite others to join. While you are joining, share this video, invite others to join. Very, very important. We are here again to continue from where we stopped, because consistency is very, very important in the journey that we have embarked upon. Consistency is very, very important. So we will continue to preach this gospel of freedom, gospel of emancipation, gospel for heaven, or gospel of heaven rather. We must continue to preach this gospel. Before we proceed, let us remind us some of the prophecies of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu.
Or the rant of a mosquito, or whatever. The same people killed Chuba Kadibo, a very brilliant mind once again. More recently, they now use the same criminals, now clamoring for Igbo presidency. You see them not, Igbo presidency, Igbo presidency. You think they have something upstairs. They have nothing upstairs. All of them. Umahi wants Igbo, Umahi, yes, you want Igbo presidency? Oh, Ochiso Carlo, you want Igbo presidency? Oh, maybe even Nwobodo, you want Igbo presidency? Yes. Now let me ask you a question. When Ekwueme came out to contest in 1999 Igbo presidency, what did you do in Jos or Jos Okala? You betrayed Ekwueme. You voted for Obasanjo. Jos PDP convention in 1999. So that time Igbo presidency wasn't good, or wasn't good enough. It's now that you want it, yes? And now let us go to Dave Umahi. Your own brother Peter Obi contested with Atiku. Under your own political party, you were in PDP, but you delivered the Ebonyi State to APC against your own brother. Now you want to contest because you felt that should Peter Obi go and succeed and become VP to Atiku, after 8 years or thereabout, or after 4 years, Peter Obi will naturally succeed and become the president of the zoo, thereby spoiling your own chances. What did you do? What did you do, I ask? You campaigned against your own brother, against your own fellow Igbo brother. Now you're talking about Igbo presidency. I just want to prove to the world that these people are just criminals, a gang of thieves, all of them. Zakalo, after campaigning against Ekwueme, all of them, do you know that the entire PDP caucus from the East never voted for Ekwueme? So they were asking themselves, how come your own brothers don't want to vote for you? Or Joseph Carlo was there. Some people are championing, he should be the president. But Ekwueme served Shagari very well. Never stole a dime. In fact, bankrolled MPN. He was a multimillionaire and is very successful architect in the USA before he came back. Very wealthy man. Ekwueme. Ojo Carlo, did you vote for Ekwueme in 1999? Now that you're campaigning for Igbo presidency, was Ekwueme running for Igbo presidency? Dave Umahi, Igbo presidency is our turn. When your brother Peter Obi was campaigning, did you campaign for him? Did you vote for him? Despite the fact that he is your brother in the same political party. That is why all this your nonsensical Igbo presidency is dead on arrival. When we were doing Biafra, did you support anybody? Instead, you call the army to come and kill us. And now you want us, you want to go to Abuja. You send their force now, they'll bomb everybody to death. They are Igbo presidency, useless set of idiots, traitors and betrayers. Jim Nwobodo, in 1999 in Jos, you were speaking Hausa against your own brother, Ekwueme. You are speaking Hausa. In Jos in 1999, you campaigned against your brother. Now you're talking about Igbo presidency. Oh, dear me. Igbo presidency, Igbo there. Useless people. There is something I want to tell all of you. We hope, pray, and know that Biafra will come or the zoo will be destroyed before 2023. Of course, everybody knows that. It's given. COVID-19 saved them last year. It won't save them again. This year, the vaccine is out. Instead of an Igbo man to be the president, or Yoruba for that matter, let Fulani continue. It is called Mirina Mohuana Manna Yubu. Since you people prefer to be slaves, because if we allow any of you idiots to enter into Asarok, after about 4 or 5 years or 6, Fulani will take it back for eternity. You would have benefited from your own wickedness and evil. So you know what is going to happen? If Fulani are smart enough, they should continue. Everyone saw what happened all over the world. Rigging of election these days is just is given. It is no longer a big deal. As long as you're proclaimed the winner, that's it. If Fulani are very smart, they will continue in office. They will continue in the zoo, in their zoo. Of course, we are living. We're not going to stay there. That is why you don't want to support Biafra. Because of presidency. So you and your friends can now be eating money.
All right, welcome back. Of course, we are. The reason why I actually played the voice of our leader talking to our people because of how they are betraying each other, how they are selling you and making nothing out of yourself. That is the reason why when one person stands, the other ones give them sword, they will fall. It is very, 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 bad for what we are fighting for. Because if you continue to bring down your own, believing that you are, defeating your enemy, you are actually making wave, or you are actually giving your enemy soft landing. You are giving them a safe landing if you are destroying your own because you see them as your problem or you see them as your enemy. I can assure you, you will never ever be free. That is the same problem that Biafrans are having because of everybody is for their own. Anybody, whatever you do for your pocket. If you do good for your pocket, nobody actually, understand that we have to pay sacrifice. And in this sacrifice, we have to pay it together. We have to actually leave behind our differences. And we have to now focus on the task ahead. And for me to leave the differences between I and you, I must see a change in you. It is like a double-edged sword. I must see a change in you for me to leave my differences with you. I must see a change in you. If I don't see a change in you, I don't think we will ever come around. That is the reason why the wise said that The only thing that is constant is change. So it is time for us to make a change within ourselves, because we must understand ourselves before we actually engage our common enemy. If we cannot understand ourselves, we will never be able to engage our common enemies. Because these common enemies, they are using these differences as a weapon against you, turning you against one another, making prayer of one another, praying on one another. It is a very, very dangerous, thing to do. If we can learn how to understand ourselves, if we can learn how to, love our neighbors, ourselves, we are going to actually move every mountain. I am telling you the honest truth. As far as there is no love among us, we are going nowhere. We are definitely going nowhere. Because when there is no love amongst you, the enemy will now divide you. So that even if eventually you get your own free, in that regard, it becomes so-called freedom. Just like they have in Nigeria. Then the enemy will use through one of you to infiltrate you. So that is the reason why it is very, very important for us to understand ourselves. Because there will be a time we are supposed to root out every evil seed among us. Because we are not fighting for freedom like the one Nigeria had. We are not fighting for such freedom, because we are fighting for total emancipation and total freedom, financial freedom, freedom of movement, freedom of speech, freedom of trading, freedom of making decisions for ourselves, by ourselves. Those are the type of freedom that we are fighting for. And those are the type of freedom that we must achieve. And that is the reason why, for you to achieve such freedom, you need to understand each other. If you understand the way Chinese overcome colonialism, Chinese overcome, colonialism, and they are now competing with their colonizers. They are now competing. In fact, they are now one of the boogeymen of the colonizers. How were they able to do it? Because Chinese, they understand themselves. They work together in a communal way in order to achieve and make a difference amongst the encroached by colonialism, which they were part of. But today, they have the capability of colonizing others, or colonizing people who are still sleeping. And it can only be you. It can only be Africa. So, in that regard, why are we always the last to wake up? Because we don't understand each other. We don't love each other. When one person stand up, the other one give him a sword. They fall. So, in this regard, it is very, very dangerous for us to engage, because if you engage, it becomes a suicide. So for you to, if you want to engage so that it does not become a suicide, you know what you're gonna do? You have to now root out every evil seed amongst you, so that you will not have somebody whom you will be fighting, they will be killing you from behind. Backstabbers. Emmanuel na bana akoka. It is one thing that must be done. First of all, we need to understand the reason why Mazen Nnamdi Kanu started with the unification of Biafrans. Because if we are not complete, we are not going anywhere. And when we are moving in this, when we become complete, of course, you cannot wake up and think that you are better than me. I cannot wake up and say because I'm better than you because I am wearing a suit. Or I cannot wake up to say I am better than you because I be Igbo speaking. Or you cannot tell me say you be wiser person because you be Urobo. You cannot tell me that you are, better than me because you are a business or entrepreneurial mindset. No, we will not compete with each other. We will compete with the world. Together, and we can, because we have what Saudi Arabia have. Saudi Arabia is one of the, stable economies in the world. So, how do we navigate this problem? And in extension to Africa as a continent, because for us to engage, we need to find, something that we can sacrifice for each other. If we cannot sacrifice anything for each other, we're not going to engage. And that is the reason why we must start with our internal differences. And the internal differences we have in the sub-Saharan, in Nigeria to be precise, in West Africa, for the sake of the geographical location, it is correcting the existing status quo and going back to, existed status quo. And that is only going back to how we were before the pre-colonialism. Going back to what we were pre-colonialism. If we were a nation, give me my nation. If you were a nation, take your nation. Now, as we have become nations, whom have lived with one another, the only way we can actually make it and still feel like we are living with one another, it is actually having a peaceful dissolution and come up with a good relationship with each other. It is very simple. We are not calling for the segregation of Africa. We are calling for resetting Africa to the factory settings. Bringing Africa to the factory settings. Because we are actually living artificial life. And this artificial life we are living, it is not taking us anywhere. It is bringing us backward every blessed day. We cannot see it because we are so blinded. We are super blinded to see how this new development caused by colonialism is dealing with us. And at the same time, there is a saying that says, what we are doing, it is something that you might be seeing it, that now you are doing great. If you sabotage your own person, you are doing great. If you sell your brother, you are doing great. If you destroy your brother, if you kill them, you are doing great. No. It is you idikono wakogi. The worst thing that will happen to you is it is being the way the world projected you to be. That is the most shameful thing that will happen to you as a human being. The world will, wished ill for you. The world is actually, throwing it on your face that you are ill. And you are actually being proud of being ill by promoting it, acting ill. Which is something that, you can turn around. But before you turn it around, the mind emancipation that we talk about is love your neighbor as you love yourself. That is the number one mind emancipation. You must love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you cannot love your neighbor as you love yourself, you are basically going nowhere. You are fooling yourself, because at the end of the, no matter how much you try, you will always fail. Believe you me. No matter how much you try, you will always fail. If you don't bring down him, and you will never climb. This is applicable to Biafrans, amongst Biafrans, from the coastal region to the hinterland, from the hinterland to the middle belt. It is very, very necessary for you guys to understand that the only thing that will save us from this mess we have found ourselves into, that we, like your children, some of you who are old enough to have me as a child, or old enough to have us as your children, the Biafrans, or old enough, to bear children, you will understand that if we cannot correct it right now, if we are not able to correct it right now, we give it back to our children, they will live the same life we are living. Life of survivor. They will never live. They will never taste what it tastes like to live. And to live is to be free. That is to live. To live is to be free. If you cannot discover, to live, you will never be free. Because freedom, has, will I say that? With freedom, you are rich. Even if you are not, you are contented. You will be content with what you got. That is the freedom. How are you going to be content with what you've got? Because when you look around you, hospital there is well equipped, and you can access it whether you have money or you don't have money. You can access that hospital, and then you know that you cannot afford it in a circumstances where you found Nigeria to be today. So no one will be under pressure to go and make it. In the process of you wanting to go and make it, you get yourself into one mighty mess that you might not be able to come out of, because you want to make it under pressure. They have placed you to. They, placed you under pressure. And while you are under this pressure, you are doing anything and everything, regardless of, how risky it is, regardless of how dangerous it is. You have to do it because you have to survive. This is the type of pressure they have placed you. And in this pressure that they have placed you, for you, the only reason why, the only way you will be able to make it out alive, it is for you to understand your brother. That is exactly how it is. Nobody will be able to go to war without understanding their army. or the army without understanding their skills, because every military personnel supposed to have their own special skill and they will know when to utilize it. So if we cannot understand each other, understand our skills, understand that and understand that if we leave each other behind, we are not going to make it there. That is the reason why Mazen Nnamdi Kanu started introducing our people to us. If it was to bring 5 states, he could have done it long time ago. They would agree, because of course the ones they carved out from our land and called them South, something that does not make sense in a geographical explanation. South. Now, after naming them South, they actually, sometimes consolidate with them, making them hello, hi, June, July. At the end of the day, they will give them, a middle finger. The reason why I am saying this is because if you look at what's going on in the coastal region today, the plan of the enemy is to make sure that the people from the coastal region does not understand the need for us to embrace each other. The need for us to stop seeing each other as competitors. The need that it is for us to start seeing each other as one blood. In a situation whereby we cannot undermine each other. I cannot say, no, you be worry boy. Worry boys, they are very rough. No, you be Anambra boy. Anambra people are very business minded. No, we don't need to bring that. If you are business minded, this man is military minded. If you are military minded, this guy is police minded. If you are police minded, this guy is intelligent minded. So you bring these things together and make use of them. It takes two to tango. That is the reason why even the book said, the scripture said, where two or more are gathered, I am in their midst. Because he gives them different talents, different skills. So once 2 or more are gathered, that is the really meaning of the adage. When you pee, together in one place, it will form more. That is exactly when 2 or 3 are gathered, or when 2 or more are gathered, I am in their midst. Because when they put their mind together, their different talents together, their different, brain together, it will bring something positive. That is the real reason why it is so. So he is in their midst, because when these 2 energies, 3 energies, 4 energies clash, they have a complete energy. Then they will be able to, face every, challenges that comes their way. That is how China, or that was how China were able to, call, superpower today. That is exactly what made China the great. China. Because they were able to put away their differences. Forget about the division that is coming from the other side, the proxy that is coming from other sides, or proxy, Cold War, proxy instigations, those trying to make you, it has always been like that, and it is too much in Africa, but we cannot actually control it while doing great. You see, Asia is controlling their own while doing great, just like Chinese and Taiwan. They are, no matter whatever that is coming around, they are controlling it while doing great, because now it is all about sovereignty. If you understand that your sovereignty and the integrity of your sovereignty is very important, you will begin to start working together against those who breach the security details of your sovereignty. If you cannot work together, you will not gather intelligence. You will not solve intelligent report. So that is the reason why Mazen Nnamdi Kanu started introducing us to our own people, where they are scattered, where they are segregated, how they were turned against each other. So it is now time we need to actually realize it, that we are all in this together. No one will love your father and hate you, and no one will hate you and claim they love your father. I am telling you the honest truth. If you love my father, of course, you will love me. No matter what my father might do to you, if you remember the love you have for me, you will never harm my father. That is how it is. So don't claim that you love my father or my father is a bad guy, the children are innocent. No, I am a seed of my father. There is no way you will say you hate my father and you love me because I am different from my father. Maybe in your eyes I might be different from my father, but I am my father. So if you claim you hate my father, you equally hated me, just because I am vulnerable and gullible at that point in time. That's why you claim to love me. That is exactly the way it is. Our people must understand each other to tackle this type of enemy. We have dreams that we need to accomplish. We need to build the greatest nation in Africa, as we will become the 53rd country of Africa. I believe there is 52 countries in Africa. We will make it 53. Yes, my memory sounds me right, if it does sound me right. So, that is exactly the reason why we are committed to gain our freedom. Let me give you an example of how it works. The Fulanese, which so many of African nations know them as Fulatas. Those people who are loyal to their cows. I know and I believe that inside Fulanese, there are still good ones. They will never all be evil at the same time, because there has been cross pollinations, there has been, crossbreeding, there has been all that, which will not, which will make it easy for you to have good people and bad people, because it depends on which seed are you. That is what makes you good. That is what makes you bad. Your seed determines whom you are. So, in this regard, there are good Fulanis. There are bad Fulanis. But the bad ones of the Fulanis, they are indeed very bad and very contagious. So that is the reason why we are always, when we call them the Fulanis, we are referring to those bad ones. We are referring to those bad ones. It is not you, the good Fulanis, because some of you are very much aware of the truth. You know what is going on. You understand the politics. You just decide to keep quiet because maybe it is your own people that is destroying the life of other people, including the life of yourself, because you are not safe. Imagine, do you want your children to be moving cow from places to places? Is that what you wish for yourself? How can you ever emancipate yourself from what made you to continue to move cattle from one place to another, instead of finding a way to integrate or move with time, or create the time and the rail you need to move with? Why can't you do it? The people who are doing it, they have two eyes, 2 ears, 1 head. They have those as you. So why are they moving faster than you? Mental strength and intelligence. Freedom. Because a free man will think creatively. A free man is pragmatic. You cannot only think without implementation. You must think and implement. That's what makes you a free person. You cannot always say, no, we're supposed to do it now. We are going to wait for this. By the time you are waiting for that, believe you me, that, morale might drop. It is also a double-edged sword. That is the reason why we must trade with caution. Because while you are actually having that tenacity, that adrenaline to do it, you might go in, engage, and make a mistake. And that has been what the enemy wanted of us, so that we will do a premature engagement. That was the reason why they kidnapped Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. They tortured him in Kenya. You didn't hear about him after a week of, notification that he has been kidnapped. You didn't see him. They even came to court without him. You know what that means? It simply means that they wanted you to engage prematurely. They wanted you to become aggressive prematurely. There is something, I heard from somebody, today in this social media. They make a lot of sense. In some of their opinion, not all of them. Their opinion makes sense so that mine will make sense to you. The reason why I say they make sense, it is because he also gave, analogy within the areas of his opinion. And that analogy made it to make more sense. Now, it is very, very important that we assess before we actually engage. Because if we did not assess before engaging, it means we are dancing the dance that the drum beat is being played by those people who are your enemies. And when you are dancing, you get carried away. Then your enemy will now overrun you. Very, very important that we need to keep our emotions in check, regardless of what comes around, because that is the reason why they introduce agent provocateur, because they don't want you to keep your emotions in check. Now, after introducing the autopilot, who hears about, do you still hear about autopilot today? I had to forgo an autopilot what is he calling it? We chase them away from Idu to autopilot, from autopilot to Bridge. And the other one, Bomo Boy, Oboba, go to politics. We chase